read a really interesting article this week about alarming frozen shoulder. So there was a journal or a research article that came out in the American Journal of Sports Medicine where they looked at 10 patients who had frozen shoulder symptoms and 10 patients who did not have frozen shoulder symptoms. So frozen shoulder just would be a problem with the shoulder. Usually there's pain associated with it. Doesn't have to be, but the main thing is that you have trouble with range of motion. So it would be hard to lift your arm past this point, for example. You wouldn't be able to get up overhead easily, and reaching behind your back is often very difficult for that. So I'm Dr. Sandy Baird. I'm owner of Riverstone Chiropractic here in Oakland, California. And in this video, we're going to dive deeper down to the molecular level and see what is going on with this alarming new news about frozen shoulder. Stay tuned. So the current theory is that there are molecules called alarmins. Alarming, alarmins, alarming, alarmins. Say that 3 times fast. They are these endogenous molecules, meaning they're produced from within, in this case within the shoulder capsule, and they get released into the, get ready for this, extracellular milieu. And that's just a really fancy way that microbiologists have to say that these molecules get released into the environment that's right outside the cell. And these are things that send off the alarm. The alarmins are saying tissue damage, cell damage, body, please help me. Okay, so just to give you some idea of what I'm talking about when I say the shoulder capsule, this is a model of the shoulder, and you're looking at the back of the shoulder blade. So if we flip this, you'd be looking at the underside of the shoulder blade. And this is just like somebody's laying down on the table, and this is their shoulder blade. And now this is the rotator cuff muscle. This is infraspinatus and teres minor. This is the the supraspinatus portion of it. And right here is the arm bone. So the arm bone, you can see, attaches into the shoulder girdle up there. And if you were to peel back these tendons here and look into the deepest layer, that would be the shoulder capsule. And so they stained these tissue samples with hematoxylin and eosin dyes, and these are also called H&E dyes. Basically, it's what the microbiologists do to stain the tissues so that they can tell that the cell nucleus is blue and the rest of the cell parts are stained various shades of pink. So when you look under there, you know what you're looking for. So after the cells were stained, they looked at the immunohistochemical reaction. Basically, they introduced antibodies, which are proteins that the body would see as foreign and might react to. So they introduced those to see how strongly the alarmins would react to them, how strongly they're going to send off that signal for help. So I'm going to pull my clipboard up for the next part of this, which is the results, because there's some pretty big words here in the study, and I just want to break them down a little bit. It doesn't have to be as complicated as they make it sound. Basically, the tissue samples from the patients who had frozen shoulder showed fibroblastic hypercellularity. Oh no, what's that? Well, that's basically there's a lot of cells in there, more than there should be, and they're the building type of cells. So there's breakdown cells and there's building cells. They're just saying that there's a lot of cells that are building up tissue in this. And then they also say subsynovial vascularity, and basically there's more blood flow than normal within the shoulder capsule. I mean, just let's keep it simple, right? The other thing that they found was that the frozen shoulder samples that had the alarmins had a much higher immunoreactivity than the control tissues. And that it's also important to note that the degree of response, the higher response actually correlated with people who had increased shoulder pain. So what do we do with all this information about alarmins and frozen shoulder as chiropractors or as alternative health practitioners? Well, one thing I would like to see is a little bit larger of a study. So this one only had 10 patients in the control and 10 patients in the frozen shoulder group. So a larger study might be nice to make sure this is replicated over a larger group. But then I can think of 2 other things. So number 1, if there is a lot of immunoreactivity happening within the shoulder capsule, might there be the possibility that this may be happening elsewhere in the body? I think so. There is a lot of research around a low autoimmune response diet. And so a good place to start with that is Dr. Sarah Ballantyne's book. I believe it's called The Paleo Approach. I'll link it below in the notes. That's a really nice resource to get started with learning about that. And then also through my functional medicine training, if you want a customized low immune response diet, I can help you build that. And then the second thing is that chiropractic adjustments have been shown to boost the immune system. So there's a great video that Dr. Dan Murphy does. It's on YouTube. I'm going to link to it. It's a really quick watch. I think it's about 5 minutes long, and it talks about the 1918 flu epidemic and how it relates to chiropractic adjustments and how chiropractic adjustments can boost the immune system. So if you want to get adjusted, you can book an appointment here. If you're not local to Oakland, you can check in with a chiropractor in your area. But definitely check that out if you're having frozen shoulder symptoms. I really do think that chiropractic adjustments can help you. So if you found this video helpful, you can subscribe for more videos like this on YouTube, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.